In this time, I welcome the Minister of Information and Communication, Mohammed Rahman Sware, we dey with at the studio for can tell we things where the ministry able to do inside last year and the planning way forward for this year 2022. Good morning and welcome to the program. Good morning, Salon.
Yes, Fambule on the morning. I'm glad for the year today. And since it don't take over 1 year since Mituna, I want on my personal behalf and on behalf of the ministry and indeed government for extend best wishes for 2022 to Wunana Radio Dinaya, to all the media and to the government and poor Sierra Leone.
Okay. So the Ministry of Information and Communication gets a mandate for put together some policy and law them we then go use for regulate and ensure say standard service in the information sector and also for ensure say the media industry get what it take for make sure say whatever they do we get for do talk telecommunication they in a standard and improved way. And in line with that, also for create a digital inclusive environment where everybody will take part as this go promote democracy, create more employment and also make Salon Day in line with other country them on information and communication technology. How the ministry don't they do this in the year 2021 and the plan we didn't get for the present year or now 2022, the minister they can give you a full update on that. Mr. Minister, from that introduction on some of the mandate of the ministry, we'll start for look back at the year 2021 in terms of things we wanna work on, where you go point out say this is a great achievement we wanna make for improve the ICT world.
Yeah, so first, a good for remind Fambolen what's the mandate of the Ministry of Information and Communications. Now a twofold mandate. One, now for ensure say we help for bridge the communications gap between government and citizens. What's that they mean? My ministry for make sure say people that know what's in government they do, and we say for take the people that feedback back to government for inform government policy. So that's one limit that one day. They do that they mostly principally through working with the various media outlets there and using a multi-pronged approach. You take the other bit, the other limb, the ministry now they oversee government or in interest na ICT infrastructure, yeah, na the country. Now the ministry they mediate that one day, now they oversee that particular limb day. And the other one now for make sure say we create the enabling regulatory and legislative environment for able attract private sector investment at the sector and for make sure say we able for drive an inclusive digital environment, right? So now the main mandate than that. So basically 2021 was a great year in many ways. Number one, when all sabi this country don't go digital, or at least we did under value. His Excellency President Julius Maada don't they always say this country, like the rest of Africa, will miss out on 3 industrial revolutions. Law not miss out on this 4th industrial revolution, we powered by digitalization. So it wants less Sierra Leone able to participate, law not only be end users. So if you want to do that, you get to put the necessary mechanisms there in place for make sure say protect the citizens. For example, we are aware say about I hope so I'm gonna start right. About 89% of citizens there they're connected by mobile voice. About 27% they on various social media platforms. Not quite sure about the start, but I need to check it on the back. So that means that a substantial part of the population we connected, where they do digital interactions there, on one platform or the other, or where they talk to themselves. So governments get the responsibility for make sure say their citizens and where they use their digital equipment and they feel protected in digital space in much the same way where government they take responsibility for protecting citizens in real life, right? So that one is important. So because of that one day, now that make you find out say in the year just gone by 2021 will be enact the cyber security and crime law, right? That for make sure say we protect many citizens and all in digital space. We create the right environment for them so nobody no go bully them, nobody no go abuse them, all the reason and they so then we will operate there. That's the number one reason we do. And what we'll do that one day, this is unlike other laws. The other law then will pass it in a shelf. This is a living law, right? So what to make us say a living, it as a full package. One of the recommendations in the law, now for law set up a national SAT, cyber incident security response team. That national Saturday, now then will be the technical wing for ensure say people then comply by that law day. But just in case you get forgone a court or something, we don't already begin a process with ECOWAS support for train judges there, for train investigators there, for able to implement the cyber security and crime law. I mean, this is currently happening. And last time, where His Excellency President Bill they give accent where they sign it into law, ECOWAS been in there, boku people them in there. ECOWAS make that firm commitment say they will train Sierra Leoneans there for make sure say they get them up to speed in areas like how for curate, how for preserve electronic evidence because they're very volatile. Right? So that's in the other training they are about for go on. The non-car inspect the potential office for the national SAT. Now the new NATCOM building. Once it's complete, the installations of the equipment again. Now European Union they fund down through ECOWAS. Salud get the privilege because we led a very strong team under my leadership. We make a strong advocacy so Salon get that opportunity. But what's more important as we talk about this, now the fact say the president in commitment for improved gender representation of government they go before. Under the new national SAT is going to be headed by a very profoundly qualified Sierra Leonean woman. We get the key competencies and requirements there. And at the ECOWAS region, they commend we for this. We are the only country who gets a national SAT with a woman the leader.
All right, Mr. Minister, you can't continue for tell we waiting the ministry being due inside 2021. But meanwhile, we still a struggle forget onto NACOVAC forget response to citizens them we don't stand na Lunge International Airport as a result of them not giving them the results them for made them board and the flights are already left. Waiting government make up of this.
Yeah, so I got the privilege at the Sedona, the Presidential Task Force on COVID. The president they treat this matter very, very seriously. Where I say last time we get a conversation with Harvard Business School, with the specialists there, COVID, they say Sierra Leone, the world don't manage this response here, they commend the world over, when I sabi CDC. So this government they treat this matter very seriously. This is a very serious allegations there. Now citizens there will try to make the country attract to fair share of foreign direct investment with the one law citizens that come for vacation, one for promote tourism. So this is now very serious allegations there as government who will look into them. I mean as well of a holding statement because now the area now who will look into them and government will take the necessary actions there for corrector so that no other people there not will suffer the same kind of inconvenience or other people now suffer because so, obviously get a lot of implications.
Even though you say when I go look into this current situation with the results for over 50 passengers they don't miss their flight this morning, but not to the first and this way concerned on the come from the public for second issues we get for do it NACOVAC then test results and all. Even the workman them the NACOVAC over 3 months now done the strike. The last one we then do na last week who side then go na even cutting tea, they end up go state house even for CC them pay them salaries then because they say they get over 8 months backlog salary where they not receive it. How serious government take this? We know to now is start, but say now the workman they not get them paid and then they threaten say if they not pay them, we go result to a time where people not going to get the results them for the test and then we don't see happen so.
Okay, so unfortunate, like I say, this response they don't rate around the world as one of the most nimble, one of the most effective. That is not to say they get new challenges. We regret say then challenges and they happen like I say. But I get good news now. Just yesterday, the Presidential Task Force meet with His Excellency presiding. A decision has been taken for let them pay whatever backlog then with or legitimate backlog then, right? So that will be done. In the meantime, we appeal to all them people then they, because just like them player then with the under now, Cameroon, Youssef, na COVID, this is a global thing. Now on our frontline people there, now on our ambassador there, let them let them trust the process, and let them be sure say they will process the whatever emoluments there, and they will pay them eventually. So let them go back to work.
You minister in like sort of government microphone. Are you the talk for the government?
Yeah.
Any issues where they happen? Are you the communicate between the government and the people then?
Yes, absolutely.
So now we got a situation at hand. Over 50 people in Alunge, people and the way they return back for go do their work, and then don't stranded. Meanwhile, before government protocols and go for happen meetings and all, what's the immediate or emergency thing where you want for sit to NACOVAC? Because now we dey try forget Solomon Jamiru, we don't get anybody yet for respond to them concern ya. Waiting at the most immediate thing where you go say to them if they listen you now as for address waiting they happen at Lunge while government go forget their meetings.
Okay, so number one, this is not breaking news story, right? Not breaking news story this. So we need to forget to head around that. But as well as the holding statement, I want to talk to me Fambulen, Nalunge. We're sorry and we regret the inconvenience. But I want for assure when I say government they work very hard with the appropriate authorities there for make sure say we resolve this thing here and cut short with the inconvenience, right? And for resolve on a permanent basis for ensure say no other passenger no go through this situation again.
What about NACOVAC?
NACOVAC they remain and then we'll take the appropriate action.
Okay. In name na Mohamed Gamaswa, Minister of Information and Communication. If they respond to the current situation within Alunge, Usai over 50 passengers been stranded because they not get their original COVID test where this make the don't miss flight. Well, the minister will continue to give you update as he there for talk about things them where a ministry able to do inside last year and the way forward for this year 2022. Mr. Minister, I don't highlight different things them where you don't talk about, especially on the information and communication technology. Let me look at the enactment of the cybercrime bill. We don't turn to law now. Then we look at the system where they in place for ensure say this not just some children are black and white as in paper, but the structure and system they in place for CCE really work. From where it turned to law, which one I don't put in place?
Well, even before it turned to law, you know, because we are aware say day of planning is different from the day of battle. So begin prepare this thing. So already we don't train Sierra Leoneans there. Yeah. And this is not competency-based training or rigorous assessment. Not to say this is not Bobo go be expert. No. The European Union through ECOWAS then conduct competency assessment, then do testing, and do all kinds of things. So a lot of training on the people then will not appoint. Because they've already been in the system and get various competencies, right? So you know they count additional burden. So then people they don't train. Like I say, we also don't begin training for investigators then and for the judiciary, because ultimately now they get for the interpret and implement this lawyers with them at Ayago court. Then training they don't begin. And there's also commitment. There's commitment for upgrade the forensic lab of the Sierra Leone police, so then we're able to do more serious forensic investigations there. For the simple reason that cybercrime people that when they commit normally they're resident outside the jurisdiction, outside and they commit the crime. So important say you able get law then and you able get commitments for international cooperation. So now that make with the accent to boku organizations there. Important for note say this cybercrime law, apart from just protecting citizens in cyberspace, now also international commitments what this country may not make. Now Malabo, Equatorial Guinea, African heads of state there, during the previous administration may make that commitment, but not much was done for implementing. It also the part of the ECOWAS directives, all ECOWAS member states there, for get law there, for protect people in the cyberspace and data protection, right? So now some events then they would not appoint people there, like I said, would not appoint one of the most profound Sierra Leone. Is a profoundly competent Sierra Leonean woman for leaders. And this one, ECOWAS don't commend you for her. This is not the only SAT that will be led by a woman. And I don't get the opportunity to work with this person here for the last 3 years. And she's a ruthless finisher when it comes to our work business.
All right, Mohamed Rahman Sware, Minister of Information and Communication. Continue for between the program area this morning for giving updates on waiting the ministry do in 2021 and say figure for tell we waiting and plan for do for 2022.
The program Good Morning Salon they continue. We will bring this edition come to you this Thursday morning. Me Nasapti Yukalon
and Mabel Kaba. The program Good Morning Salon, they continue, and we still get the Minister of Information and Communication at the studio this morning when I'm Mohamed Rahman Swari. They tell we waiting the ministry do inside 2021. Well, as we continue for look at on our events and activities them wanna been get inside 2021. Let's look at the issue we get for do with una as a ministry being the supervisory ministry for different sectors them we agencies them. We get Sal Post, we get Daily Mail, Natcom, Slena, Sal Cabway, now Nazud Labs, and other institutions them where the ministry they supervise. Waiting at the current status as per waiting at the efforts where the ministry been doing inside 2021 for ensure say their institutions here so really they up and working for salon people them.
So let's just take some of it in and I'll count to specifics, if you permit me. Okay, so in the same year we'll talk about 2021, we and the World Bank will collaborate. They undertake a diagnosis assessment, digital economy for Africa. They undertake a diagnosis assessment of Sierra Leone with digital landscape, the opportunities that we'll get, the challenges there, and the thing that we will do for make sure so we're not left behind. We're able for progress, for realize the president's vision of a digitally inclusive Sierra Leone where people then be able to compete and participate. We as ministry now we charge with doing this under the National Development Plan na cluster 3.5 a day. So that's what we are charged with. So because we don't do that diagnostic study day, we don't cooperate and collaborate with the World Bank over the period. We don't take bold, audacious regulatory and legislative actions there. The World Bank will be now nearly blacklist this sector. Over the world, we manage the cable landing system, we call SALCAP, over the years. The World Bank are pleased for note say when they work together for begin a project, a $50 million grant today now, within they support the government of Sierra Leone with for actualize the president's vision of a digitally transformed Sierra Leone. Already, we don't do key thing there. September this year, all being well, this project will become effective. Yeah? It's a digital transformation project. We don't do all the work there now. So the mission, they continue various stages, na collaborative effort. So we are firmly on course. I mean, we're glad to say we don't claw back the support of the World Bank after the vex per week. The other points were important for note. We don't, he asked for the other sector then, we don't review together with sector players, with civil society, and all salient stakeholders. We don't review the National Telecommunications Law. So we don't gazette up. Ready for go Parliament right now. I'm supposed to do pre-legislative hearing sometime next week. So this is work in progress because the time them do the NATCOM Act 2006, they amend them very, very minor amendments there. And not take boku thing into consideration. As at the time they do the NATCOM Act 2006, will not been get for example the cable landing station not been there. Boku thing we don't do now na digitalization not been there that end. So the law don't left behind. So we need for like a catch up with times and so they bring on board a lot of best practices around the world.
Let me look at Sal Post. It don't say we're not a area, but Sal
Post.
Candy.
Just patient me small at the touch each and I want to talk about the big issues and then I can land there now. I can land there at the various side and please we don't agree say this year we all okay. So the other thing I want to talk about last year when a member say where His Excellency President Bill take over a talk say in this modern day digitalization na the fuel with the engine growth and national development. So what did he do? First trip to China na FOCAC, I've been talked to in counterpart President Xi Jinping for support him. So we had a 30 million concessionary loan for law to take fiber to the remaining districts of the country. So the 5 districts that were the benefits include Koinadugu, because they never benefit from phase 1. Koinadugu, they benefit from this phase. Pujeon, they benefit from this phase. Kailaon, they benefit from this phase. Bond, they benefit from this phase. And Moyamba, they benefit from this phase. As part of the fiber backbone phase 2. 90% of the work done complete. And they also connect some key government institutions, including the local councils there within a place then they. We also don't just complete something like 39.5 kilometers of aerial fiber cable na provincial headquarters towns of Bo, Kennewa, Makeni, and Poloko, right? The eventual thing for let them give access points. So if you go Poloko, for example, na day you want for take fiber na your host, you want for connect your host easy. So this is an opportunity for small medium enterprises within that ecosystem day for set up now a place like Poloko for able deliver internet services, for set up now a place like Makeni for able do same, for set up now a place like Bo, like Kenema, right? So we are taking connectivity to the doorsteps of Sierra Leoneans there. Right? So that now the other one, that one day. I want for mention other thing there. Broad sweeping of model. Okay, come to the specifics if you may.
Before we come to them, one and the way you want to talk about, what's the status of the Sierra Leone Postal Services when a Sal Post?
Sal Post, they do well in the circumstance. They could do better. Post offices around the world don't fall on hard times. These are challenging times because they don't get serious challenge from the digital economy. Seriously challenged. Now, normally, anything the way you want post, first time, you go on internet, no more, you don't write. So the post office don't get challenged. What would they try for do? We want for latch on to technology. The same thing we don't pose a threat to the survival and success of the post office. Now we want for latch on to back, for let the post office revive, let it thrive, and let it succeed.
When do I want for that?
So la build the case, let family understand. You know, so last year, I go na a conference, na UPU organizer conference in Abidjan. Now the first conference is them in the host in Africa. Now that conference they emerge say we salon pay, you don't say we not pay with use. We last pay with use in about 1980 thereabout. So how you go want this now the regulatory body for the post? Now they set standards, now they help small post offices around the world. We membership fee, it don't take 30 years on a pay. So when you do that, then benefit them they within other institutions and they benefit from it. You know the benefit from capacity building, you know the benefit from technical support, you know the benefit from
because the reason why they
ask. So the good news is
as Minister of Information and Communication, Mr. Minister, most times so you can at the studio, you don't tell listeners about how President Bio in government believe in ICT and all of that. So that make I want for let people know.
I want people to know
more.
For
example, waiting at the digital system within a Sal Post.
At the cap. So club there, certain small club that can belong to. Where you know they pay membership due, you know they enjoy opportunities. So over the years, 20, 30 years, Salon know they pay. So we know the benefit from technical support, we know the benefit from capacity building, we know the benefit from then grants and all of them. So they not even one go right for vote, but I mean with the Ministry of Finance, we work a deal with them, we do a payment plan, we don't begin adhere to that one day. So Salon go begin benefit from them. And already, you know, we don't begin to talk about technical support. And under this World Bank support, we also want to let the post office benefit. Like I say, waiting kill the post office when our digitalization for the most part, now we want for use as mercy again for MENA.
Okay.
Right? So a lot of work there in the offing around this. In fact, with the review the law, that one they get ready for cabinet. Post office will not forget how even though the post office technically they're under the National Commission for Privatization. I provide ministerial lead for them, the cabinet and this. But we're not going to left sit down the post office die. The post office must regain glory days.
Continue for the between inside the program. Minister of Information and Communication, Mohamed Ramanswari. We don't give updates so far on things and we were able to do it last year as we for create a digital inclusiveness society in the country. Mr. Minister, you don't make point of different things that don't they put in place. Inside last year, what they also lay emphasis on that the issue of digital transformation, also on do consultation and validation, and in line with that, we still get a funding from World Bank of $50 million. In that line of digital transformation, inside last year, we were able to achieve inside that particular transformation they will want to do.
Yes, so for access World Bank funding, in a very rigorous process and procedure. Yeah, we don't do pre-assessment, assessment, so the thing then they continue. Yeah, I think that by May, this issue will go to the board for approval. By September, now the project effective date. So all lengths here what they do now they lay the foundation, because I mean the baseline very weak. We not be don't get policies, for example. Now we don't do the digital development policy. Now we don't do a strategy for digital development, digital transformation strategy. We don't just done validation 2 weeks ago for the strategy. The policy has been approved by cabinet. The strategy we don't just a week to Christmas now do that validation, that final validation day, and they await cabinet approval. So a lot of work don't they go in on this. But the ministry not just about digital transformation, not just about ICT. The ministry, one of the limbs then of the ministry, that the information aspect. Well, Sierra Leoneans go be a testimony to the fact say we have continued to do. We in an era where citizens and they yearn for more and more information, So for that reason, my predecessor, they will be there, for example, the Ministry of Information, they will tell you, say, I have visited more radio stations, for example, more TV stations than any one of my predecessors. Then because as a year go by, citizens then desire for more and more information to become insatiable. So that one, we have continued to educate citizens, we have continued to take the goodwill messages of government achievements then to citizens then. Last year, down they all culminate in the end of year retreat we get. We bring together about 200 media practitioners and civil society leaders then for share government achievements then, for talk about the challenges then, and how we partner together, for make government more effective and for making this democracy continue for thrive from strength to strength. That one they will do. His Excellency don't direct me say we'll for do more of that in this new year. And I could not agree more, because if it be a continuous iteration process, we'll for do so people then will understand. Because there are many things, even at the retreat, where some minister then go talk to some media people then not be know, right? Some now been the first time they come face to face with the minister then, interview them, ask them questions, particularly for provincial journalists there. So they continue that one day. Apart from that one day, last year, that been a very successful year on many fronts for the ministry and indeed for Sierra Leone. His Excellency, the President, on November 4th last year, he formally signed the Global Media Pledge. Salone don't become the 5th member of the Global Media Freedom Coalition. This is an association of like minds, if you like, of countries that want to do well with media freedom, with access to information, we get then credentials and they Salone don't repeal, we don't strengthen the right to access and other things then. So because of that one day, no journalist is in jail because of the views there, waiting the right. So because of that, Salone don't become a leading light for media freedom, for access to information. So they admit we to the Global Media Freedom Coalition as a 5th member, and the president may get the honor, then congratulate her for all the good work we do. So that's in itself a milestone, because Salone are the 5th country in Africa we don't join that coalition day. So that one day I think is very important for talk about.
The program Good Morning Salone, they continue. We still get the Minister of Information and Communication at the studio, Mohamed Rahman Swari. They don't tell we waiting the ministry do in 2021. And we did in 2022 now. Just give listeners them waiting at the Ministry of Information on our targeted goals them for achieve this 2022.
Well, so we're very, very clear. We've been in the campaign for letting repeal the criminal libel law of 1965. One of the arguments then was that with the repeal, we'll go able to attract private sector investments in the media. His Excellency don't make bold for say, would they host a media, an investment conference for the media? Please for tell Fambul and say, we don't attract good partnership, well partners and they talk, and that one then something we want for able to achieve before the end of the first quarter. When Sludge, MRCG, all the people that we did it, we all done the work, we work very hard. When, with development partners there, we work very hard for conveying the first ever of its kind, media conference na Salone, so that we'll be able to attract private sector investment. Because now been the argument that we'll make, and indeed, there are huge opportunities for investment in the media, right? But people they need for know about them, they need for get an idea of the returns on investment and all that. So that will work on down the right now as I talk to you. Again, this same year, we enact the data protection law. I remember this is a very important situation. Because every citizen they generate so much data, and more importantly, because of the nature of services they now would get, whether digital or otherwise, people then data need to be protected, right? So that one day in a nutshell. So this government care about that one day. So as a result, the NCRA and the ministry they work very hard for make sure so we're able to enact the data protection law as soon as possible. You remember say where we take the cyber security and crime law in the parliament, MP them are very concerned say it not go together with the data protection law. We've been telling say it go come, even though not to a fact say if we can any other. Nigeria, for example, enact the cyber security and crime law around around 2015. The data protection law followed 4 years later in 2019. But we now will go make sure say inshallah, first half of this year we go down enact the data protection law. Than the other one. Again, you remember we don't talk about this $50 million grant with the World Bank. They support through the Ministry of Finance. They support for digital transformation. That project they become effective later this year, and now and then a big opportunity. We want for make digitalization rare. The components then we did it, that project, and that opportunity that for talk about another day. Nothing that will go make real changes in the lives of in the way we do business. It will bring more efficiency gains to government, and it go citizens and say go benefit directly from now and day. So I think that's important to note.
So look at the issue of other institutions they will now they supervise, like NATCOM. NATCOM then say get a mandate for regulate mobile company them. Whose emphasis on a go lay for this year 2022 for ensure say the service within different institutions they improve, accessible and affordable.
Yeah, well, so now one of the reasons that I mentioned where I start off, I say we take the electronic communications law, na Parliament, they do pre-ledge next week. It's tentatively slated for Wednesday. If there's no cabinet, I go do on Wednesday. But if there's cabinet, we'll reschedule up. So that's on cause. For them to for happen, now law then. So the law then, we all don't look out when the mobile network operators then, when the internet service providers then, with the cable landing, the whole civil society, consumer parliament. So everybody is on board. Once we do that in there, you also remember say last year NATCOM issue additional 5 new regulations there. What we take over in 2018, we only get a 3-pager on SIM registration. That is an embarrassment, right? From when they form NATCOM 2006, then we get a 3-page regulation. Will not be in depth. Will not take bokut in there. But so NATCOM don't do a good job. They don't do 5 new regulations. Of course, with support from the ministry and the AG's office. So a lot of work to go on. Then in there, now go address issues like consumer protection. It will address boku issues there. Infrastructure sharing, national roaming, and bokutine na the new law.
So the states telecommunication when as Sierra we don't see them get so many challenges. We make them not be too effective in terms of providing the mobile service where people want. As part of our plan for 2022, in any way then they now on a list and who's change people go see in terms of the service where Sierra Tel as a state-owned telecommunication company.
Okay, first let I repeat myself again. Sierra Tel they on the list for privatization, National Commission for Privatization, just like the post office. Where I say last time I get updated. Where I say then they at contract negotiation stage, they don't tender and people they don't apply, they don't go through a very scrutinous process. So some company they now will go qualify where the NCP they negotiate with. Once that negotiation is done, then do the contract, I go cry and go cabinet. Yeah. We think say you require fresh capital, injection of private sector money into Sierra Tel for revitalizer and make them competitive. Right? Of course the HR and other issues then will be taken care of I mean, a part of the negotiations, so that employees who are old
Because
resources
that's
and what
our,
have you.
as say, waiting the ministry don't do as supervisory ministry for ensure say drug gonna come out at the end of the day, because we all know the experience we been the way Salka be the turn to Zudlab.
No. That one day, you know, I know one for talk about them, but we're all aware. Say,
So waiting the ministry don't do
because
for let
we
this
not
not
the
repeat.
leadership Nasal Cab not been the corporate, or it could have been a very seamless process. So now so then lessons learned would they bring out for inform this phobia on this process. But mind you, the ministry, the ministerial lead would they provide for Sierratel, a day under the direct watch of the National Commission for Privatization, right? So
Alright.
that one day I think is very important for talk about.
All right, today we're tuning at the program. In name na Mohamed Rahman Sorry, the Minister of Information and Communication. And they are this morning they tell waiting the ministry do inside 2021 and the thing them what them plan for do in 2022. Still get the Minister of Information and Communication at the studio, but also not forget we still let's not forget NACOVAC for response to concerns them. We come from over 50 salon people and waiting now. Now the Lungi International Airport as in stranded and flights don't left them because NACOVAC not able to produce the certificate to them for use for board. Unfortunately, we're not able to get NACOVAC yet. We still make calls them for get somebody for respond as to waiting next year for happen because then people in the dummies and flights this morning due to NACOVAC then failure for producing certificates for let them board. Well, when they come back to the Minister of Information and Communication, I make for understand say today Thursday the 13th of January, government they finally pull the white paper and do from the constitutional review committee work where them they don't do well. It don't take salon but 17 years now for getting 1991 constitution reviewed. We see the Peter Tucker reports been come out. Let's Justice Kawan Sef been do the CRC, but now government finally said today on the pull the white paper waiting salon people for expect.
Okay, first I want let salon people there understand say this President Bill na possible they keep in word. You said don't talk 17 years ago. Now this journey begin, right? Before the expiration of the tenure of the last administration, then set up an 80-man committee representing all shades of opinion. Then go across this country, billions of millions, then spend that on there. But at the end of the day, we get a white paper. We completely reject almost all of the things there we Sierra Leoneans there across the country been saying they want to see in the reviewed constitution. So this president Naposo committed to the development of this country. The constitution is the basis for build a country. Because it's the parent law. So it put together a technical committee for let them review the original recommendations of the Constitutional Review Committee, not to that white paper with them put together will reject all things. For let them revisit the original recommendations of the Constitutional Review Committee. I know in the last days in the 98 now, I listened to the late Justice Kawan, before he passed away. He been very disappointed. He sounded a very disappointed person. He felt betrayed that after all of their efforts they already don't put in, they don't reject the
so as government's recommendation
so this government with Fidel to frame breaking changes. The President Bill don't take bold and audacious step there, repeal the criminal libel, abolish the death penalty, gender empowerment bill the parliament. So then Boku bold thing there. Before now, nobody know the members say that will happen in a lifetime. But this is a transformative leader who generation don't get, so it push anything there go before. So today, I don't want to put the cart before the horse, but I can tell you say you get real serious, some of the serious recommendations there we people them don't make across this country good in this launch today. So the one that we invite, this is historic, really important. If you get an invite, let you go there. And we say, of course, the one that we not get for Didi, be sure say no more. Then the stream and live on all social media platforms. then go carry on live na SLBC, and I'm sure on the other TV stations, 98 una segode. So we want to make sure, say, because this is a very important thing. 17 years on, it's been all movement, all motion, no movement. The president again and the final push today.
Okay.
I mean, in typical talk and do fashion, right?
Continue for the with we, Mr. Minister. Inside the program, Good Morning Salon. Now we did take some message them we people don't send. This one from a Facebook page where I go first read from Ali Ferro. They say Salpost does not have any technology as present. Bring the intended technology so people know how you plan to improve Salpost.
Our Facebook page, Unisa Akun Hassan Sisi, they say it will be appropriate for you to firstly reduce the cost and improve the quality internet connectivity for Sierra before thinking of privatization.
This one is improving ICT should also be important by ensuring that people in the provinces and villages get the same facilities. It's such a shame that in some districts or chiefdom you have to climb a tree to get connection.
All right, this other message where they come from the text line, the person they say, is this a deliberate attempt by NACOVAC not to respond to concerns from citizens who have missed their flight this morning because they might know what's the actual facts, but they don't want to speak to the public?
This one from Sanu Ibrahim, now Facebook page, you say investment in communication is a good step forward, Mr. Minister.
More messages. We look at this other one. Say, Mr. Minister, can you agree with me that your strengths are more on the communication sector and not information?
This other message say access to information is still a challenge. Most of these policies are just in document, but they did not speak to what it's all about.
This other one say it's time for heads to get role at the NACOVAC administration. It has been long, these concerns have been coming, and yet we haven't seen any action taken to solve the issues of the workers. President Bio, please shake them up.
Another message on the airport issue, Sai passenger then stranded, say it's so disheartening after you packed your bags, pay your air ticket, do your test, and due to some mistakes or some failure, you are not able to travel and miss your flight, all salon.
All right, so from the message, and they will come over to the Minister of Information and Communication as he will respond to the one that will come in from.
Okay, so somebody say, yes, we'll not reach out it to farthest and far-flung communities so we can pack communication. Yes, we are not there yet, but we don't make remarkable progress in the last couple of years. We don't encourage the mobile network operators there through enabling policies and regulations there for going far-flung communities and locations there where they've not been a member of mobile connectivity before. It's still work in progress. We'll continue to push the boundaries. Yes, we'll continue to do that for make sure say nobody not go for the claim tick for talking up in our community. But what to go around, even on outreach, or okay, accompany the president, but who communities who they go, they also tell we thank you for who don't make, let them get connected. So yes, I mean, we recognize the challenges and still there. We'll continue for push, we'll continue for do the necessary policy reforms then for encourage more people there. You also know say there is the Universal Access Development Fund. We will work together with through NATCOM with the other institutions then for get more people connected. So that's work in progress. The baseline being very low. We'll take over. Next year, I sit down now, go on statistics. How many people then covered now? How many people then been covered before? And the people want to see the progress in terms of facts and figures. Somebody, I know so this is somebody mentioned say it look like some strength more in communications than information. Well, that is news. Well, if I wonder if I've been getting strength in information now, what's it going to look like?
All right,
because minister did not come before me. I'm the minister who has repealed the criminal libel law, 65 years old, and this was not a walk in the park. This required bringing people together, disparate views, opposing views, cynical views, right from among cabinet colleagues from across this country, from opposition. So if that is not strength, then I wonder what else is. This is the same minister who has also passed through the cybersecurity and crime bill. This has been the most contentious, the most widely debated, the most public interest bill. this minister passer, and this minister don't visit more TV stations, more radio stations, have brought more innovation to the Ministry of Information.
When I be the big man at the room.
Oh yes, this minister, yes. This minister don't visit more TV stations, don't do more interviews than any other minister in the history of Sierra Leone.
With the wrap
it
up
happens,
program
just done this. It just happens, say, it's happening at a time where other ministers may not come. Now under President Bio, the internet, social media don't pick up. I had a former minister of information visit me for the benefit of that person there. I know it's mischief and I know where it come from. So a former minister of information visits me. He said, you know what? He said, I don't envy your job. He said, oh, maybe in there. He said, nah, Attila radio station no more be there. He said, oh, you talk to me, say, go inside the motor. Right. I said, I ask for right to respond. But today, from your village, you set an agenda. You do voice note. You post on Facebook. These are the things the Minister of Information has to contend with.
Right.
Citizen journalism and all of it.
We'll wrap the program up with this message where they say the UK government has removed the travel restrictions for people who are fully vaccinated. So, if you are traveling to the UK, you no longer need to do your pre-arrival test from Freetown. But NACOVAC is still charging and requiring people to do the test. So as we wrap up the program now, we see text message and we can inside people on the call for changes action be taken against NACOVAC staff them, especially heads and rules. Mean say people let President Bio replace people as a government. And I don't think say it's high time let NACOVAC really take up responsibility and heads and it for rule at this time, as people they call for.
Well, as citizens, they don't say that. I sure say the appropriate authorities and go listen. If they not listen, I go convey. But let not forget say the president just changed leadership in NACOVAC, bringing Dr. Jambai for lead response. The former coordinator don't get promoted as deputy minister of finance. So heads, they not already shifted. Well, they did not even rule.
So that
there
means
were some
the
changes there.
Appreciate what they do.
Oh, definitely. They have done a very fantastic job. I mean, the world over they respect with. This is not to say there are no challenges. The important point is government committed for address and resolve them challenges.
So you go believe say the people and still then alunge as we talk. NACOVAC still not respond to them yet as to the rapport.
Well, they will eventually respond.
When? They
will eventually respond.
When?
I know they speak for NACOVAC, but I just know say as government were concerned with the say to them people then they will regret the inconvenience when they go through. Everything will be done to ensure that their issues are sorted and they